Welcome to Channel Parliament erupted again yesterday. But this time, it wasn't about deficits or jobs. The clash centered on crime and bail reform. Pierre Poilievre came out swinging, accusing Mark Carney and the Liberal government of letting dangerous offenders roam free under what he branded as liberal bail. He called it a national crisis, pointing to tragic headlines and demanding Carney scrap the system entirely. But then came the turning point. Carney didn't just defend his reforms, he flipped the narrative. In a powerful response, he made it clear that Canada's justice system would not be shaped by American politics. This is not a cut-and-paste version of U.S. bail laws, Carney declared. This is a Canadian law that works. That single statement could prove historic. It drew a bold line between two competing visions. Carney's Canada First, evidence-driven approach versus Poilievre's push to import American-style policies. Parliament once again erupted in debate, but this time, it wasn't about deficits or jobs. It was about crime, bail reform, and two competing visions for Canada's justice system. For months, Pierre Poilievre has hammered the government on bail, claiming repeat offenders are walking free, crime is rising, and Canadians are less safe. It's an emotionally powerful message because it taps into real tragedies. But when you look closer, his solutions aren't made in Canada. They're imported from the U.S. tough-on-crime playbook. Here's the irony. America's bail system is among the most criticized in the world. It's punitive, overcrowding jails with low-risk offenders who simply can't afford bail, and it disproportionately punishes the poor and marginalized, without making communities any safer. Those are precisely the problems Canada has spent decades trying to avoid. Carney knew that when he drew his line in the sand, this is not a cut-and-paste version of U.S. bail laws. This is a Canadian law that works. It was more than a comeback. It was a declaration of independence. By rejecting the American model, Carney exposed the conservative plan for what it is: imported politics, slogans without substance. Instead, he outlined a comprehensive Canadian solution, one built through consultation with provinces, territories, and law enforcement. A system that's tough on repeat offenders, yet fair and evidence-based. Not headlines, but homework. To grasp why Carney's stance matters, you have to understand Canada's justice tradition. Unlike the United States, Canada has long tried to balance punishment with rehabilitation, enforcement with rights, and safety with fairness. Our Charter of Rights and Freedoms enshrines protections to ensure justice doesn't just punish. It safeguards civil liberties. Both liberal and conservative governments have wrestled with bail reform for decades. But Carney's approach stands apart because it's built for Canada, tailored to our laws, our communities, and our values. Poilievre's approach, by contrast, leans on an American template. Harsher bail conditions, less judicial discretion, more pretrial detention. It sounds tough, but the U.S. results speak for themselves. Mass incarceration, deep inequities, and enormous costs that don't actually make people safer. Carney's message is clear. Safety doesn't come from imitation. It comes from innovation, from solutions designed for Canadians, not copied from abroad. That's the heart of the clash. On one side, evidence, collaboration, and Canadian values. On the other, slogans lifted from a U.S. model that's already failed. This moment also reveals something deeper about our political divide. Poilievre thrives on outrage, amplifying fear, frustration, and distrust. It's attention-grabbing politics, but not governing. Carney, meanwhile, positions himself as the steady hand, the economist, the reformer, the problem solver. His argument isn't emotional, it's structural. He's not selling anger, he's building systems. And the American law debate strikes at the core of Canada's identity. For years, conservatives have looked south for inspiration on crime, taxes, and trade. But Carney is challenging that reflex, insisting that Canada doesn't need to mirror the United States. In an era of deep U.S. polarization, that message hits home. This wasn't just another parliamentary spat, it was a defining moment about who we are and where we're headed. Do Canadians want policies written for us, by us, evidence-based, Canadian-made, or do we want imported American politics dressed up as solutions? Carney's declaration, not cut and paste American bail laws, resonates because it's about more than crime. It's about sovereignty. It's about leadership rooted in Canadian independence. Poilievre had the sharper rhetoric, but Carney had the stronger ground. When pressed for real alternatives, the conservative vision looked less like reform and more like replication. At the core of this political battle is a choice. Back-end index pointing right, Poilievre offers outrage, slogans, and American imports. Back-end index pointing right, Carney offers calm, evidence, and Canadian solutions. This is the fight shaping Canada's future. Slogans versus solutions, imports versus independence, anger versus action. And here at Canada Today, we'll keep breaking down these moments that define where our country is headed. Don't miss what comes next. Subscribe for more in-depth analysis, context,